Well, I think it was important to overturn Chevron because Chevron was a mistaken decision.
So this is obviously Neil Gorsuch, the Supreme Court judge, talking about the overturning of Chevron deference. Nurses need to. I don't think most nurses realize the impact this has on your nursing board. Yeah, a good one in my opinion. Because, I had an experience at my first job, told it a million times, I'm not going to go into the story, but I was totally done wrong. It was a big, I was the victim. Really, a child patient was the victim. But I was too. And then they turned around and reported me to the nursing board, not for anything that I was fighting them back on because they lied, but because of documentation. So this is the reason nurses will, this is what I've learned the hard way. And maybe it's only a problem in psych if you get, leaders that are psychopathic tendencies. Seriously, I don't know. But just I've had a couple stories. But if a hospital wants to get rid of you, and not all hospitals do this, some play on the up and up, but, they'll change a Pyxis count so that you quit. Because, see, if you fight it, then they're going to try to make the case, especially if you know they're lying about you. See, I made the mistake of fighting it at my very first nursing job. And so then it forces them to do an investigation. And if they have to do an investigation and you're fighting it, then they're going to report you to the nursing board so you know your place. And then 2 years later, you're going to find yourself in front of the nursing board. Don't have any of the money you need there. You're not given the opportunity of the rights we have in this country to face your accusers. Okay, you're the one that's going up in front of not a judge, a lawyer. A lawyer. There's a nurse that always sits in on your case. Had it not been for the nurse sitting in on my case, the lawyer told me I wouldn't have believed anything you said. Yeah, she was very unprofessional in my opinion. Okay, it was like she just wanted to get through this. Where had I gotten the opportunity to go before a judge, then the hospital themselves would have had to appear as well. I would have had a right to face my accusers. I would have had a right to call them into question, so they would have been found out for all of the bullshit they did. A judge would have done that. A lawyer, they all protect each other. So a lot of times if this happens to a nurse, okay, and you're being, set up, I know it's so sad to think this happens, but it's the world we live in. You quit. That's what they want you to do. Quit, go away. We just don't want you here anymore because you're standing up for the right thing or whatever it is. Seriously. At least in psych, okay? I can't say that maybe other areas of medicine are not like that. I've experienced it twice. The second time, I'm like, I'm not fighting it. I already know what happened the first time. They have all the power on their side, and they did because of Chevron deference. So when the Supreme Court overturned it, well, this nursing board doesn't have those, they don't have the power you think they do. Let me show you. The recent Supreme Court ruling that overturned Chevron deference will likely have significant implications for the nursing board and other healthcare regulatory bodies. This decision means that courts will no longer defer to the interpretations of federal agencies regarding ambiguous statutes, which could lead to increased legal challenges against regulations set by agencies like the Department of Health and Human Services that govern the nursing practice. Federal judges will no longer defer to the nursing boards or other agencies' interpretations of laws and regulations. Instead, judges will make their own determinations, potentially leading to more judicial involvement in regulatory decisions. In my opinion, that's the proper way it should be handled. I should have had a right to face my accusers. I should have been afforded going before a judge. No, instead a lawyer. I got like 10, 15 minutes. And I had to pay all this money for a lawyer. Now, they would say, no, you can go and fight it, go up to the level of a judge. You'd have to be wealthy to do it. And it takes years and money that only the wealthy have. So it's a it's a great, the way the nursing board in Illinois was used against me, and nothing came of it, by the way. As I said, there was a nurse sitting in on my case, and she said, no, this is what happens at hospitals that a union is voted in. They will target nurses. So otherwise, the lawyer playing judge said that I wouldn't have believed anything. But see, a judge would have. A judge would have been more professional. It would have been, and I would have had a right, like every American is supposed to have a right, to face your accusers. Increased judicial review. The nursing board's decisions and interpretations may be subject to more rigorous judicial scrutiny, potentially leading to more frequent challenges to nursing board regulations and decisions. Oh, good, because some of their regulations are ridiculous. Greater emphasis on statutory language and congressional intent. Potential for courts to strike down regulations deemed inconsistent with statutory requirements. Potential for more prescriptive legislation. In the absence of Chevron deference, Congress may feel pressure to craft more detailed prescription legislation to avoid ambiguity in judicial interpretation. If they do that, they need to talk to nurses that are not part of the lobby group, not part of American Nurses Association or the board. They need to talk to the everyday nurses. Let me just make that very clear. And actually, because Chevron deference is gone, it could end up leading to more increased legislation and oversight over the nursing board decisions. There's no oversight over the nursing board. None. So it's never been a fair process. In fact, you're told in nursing school, nurses will know this, at least I was told, a teacher told us, that if you go before the nursing board, you will go in guilty and leave guilty even if you're found innocent. It's pretty much how it is. It goes against our Constitution, but the nursing board doesn't care. American Nurses, so they know they've had the power all in their hands. So they were not happy about the overturning of Chevron deference because they got to decide your fate. Now, no, they don't. It won't be that easy for them to pull these games that I've experienced in my profession, unfortunately. They will be under more judicial review, and there'll be oversight over them, which is the way it should be. When there's no oversight over them, they're running around doing whatever they want to nurses. What happened to me was totally unjust in every way. From the beginning to the end. The very fact that I did not get to face my accusers, they did not have to come in, and then they just write some report and send it to the nursing board and say because of documentation when they know that's not what the investigation was about. So anyway, the other thing here is that this leads to, it's a whole bunch of things, so it's not just the nursing board. But nurses, especially with the short staffing that the greedy, money-hungry people running the hospitals are doing with short staffing, especially at freestanding psych hospitals, for years, nurses know that if you take your assignment when you get there and you leave, like if you walked off the job, you'd be reported to the nursing board. Yeah, they should. A nurse should go ahead and do that because, like where I'm at, I've said I will walk off. If I feel that I'm not in a safe environment because it's so bad, the staffing, and it seems like they deliberately go out of their way to put you in poor staffing and unsafe conditions because nobody can be this stupid. I mean, I've been in psych for 13 years. I've never seen it be as stupid as I see it right now. But the way they get you is say, no, if you have to stay, we're forcing you to stay or we'll report you to the nursing board. Okay, you go ahead and do that. They don't have the power they did before. I'll get to go before a judge, and then I get to call in that hospital and all of them, where before you didn't get to do that. And finally, it's essential to note that the actual impact of the Chevron deference overturn on the nursing board will depend on how courts and agencies interpret and imply new legal landscape. As the situation evolves, the nursing board and healthcare stakeholders will need to adapt and respond to the changing regulatory environment. Meaning your nursing boards no longer have the power that you think they do. So if you're feeling unsafe in a job, I mean, nobody wants to abandon patients. But if they should not keep admitting patients when they know they don't have staff. That's a reason a nurse should leave if they don't feel safe. So no longer can they play this game of threatening that they'll report you to the nursing board. You'll get to go before a judge.